Hello, I'm Madonna, and today I thought I would show you probably the most used tool I have, the only real tool I have actually, and that is my tarot cards. Now, I always keep my tarot cards wrapped up in a black napkin. I bought this napkin at Kohl's when I was working there around Halloween time, and it's actually pretty big, and I really like it. I have two of them. One of the napkins is actually on my altar over there. So whenever I want to take my cards out, I just plop it down, unfold it, and then I use the black napkin to lay my cards down on. Although usually it's should be turned this way. There we go. And then you have my tarot deck. I have this thing where I like to keep important things boxes. I tend to move a lot, so having a box for something like this makes it easier. It also helps me keep track of them, and I don't really have enough space to get one of those bulky tarot boxes. I have nowhere to put it, and because of my living situation, I can't really have Wiccan and pagan and occult stuff too much out in the open. Not too obvious, so no pentacles or anything crazy like that on objects. Which I'm not really into anyway. I like more simplistic, solid colored stuff. But the tarot deck that I use is actually the Medieval Cat Tarot. As you can see right here, the Medieval Cat Tarot. I bought it for $18. Though I didn't technically buy it, my aunt bought it for me when we were out shopping one day. She didn't want to go into the metaphysical shop, but I kind of made her. And they had some tarot decks on display, and I had always wanted a tarot deck ever since I first read about it in my first book, and my first Wiccan book anyway. And when I saw this deck, I fell in love with it. It's all medieval themed, and instead of people, it has cats in it. And yeah, I really like this one. Here, this is the picture of the back of the cards. Right. And then I have some cards that I'd like to show you. So, I have some of the major arcana, minor arcana, and court cards that I wanted to kind of show you real quick, just so that you can get a feel of what the deck is about. These are what I call ace cards, but I'm pretty sure that's not the proper term. They're like the first of the minor arcana, and they correspond with the ace cards in cartomancy, which I used to do cartomancy before I got tarot cards. But this is for water. It's got a cup with two koi fish. This is for wands, salamander to represent fire. This is for coins, 3 little mice, a little family of mice. For earth, and for air is a bird of paradise with a sword. Now, I really like this deck mainly because all of the elements are associated the way I would normally associate them, which was a complete accident. I didn't, like, when I bought these cards, I couldn't look through the deck. All I could see was the box, and that's okay. And for the court cards, here's an example of coins. This is 10 of coins. Ten of Cups. 6 of swords. And 10 of wands. Now the minor arcana is a little bit easier for me to memorize because there are pictures that have to do with a saying, like don't throw the baby out with the bathwater, or in the case of the 10 of Cups, you see right there, like a little happy family, numbers of 3 and things like that. That I can remember that sort of thing pretty easily, but when it comes to the court cards, I have the major arcana I can too, but the court cards are a little bit more difficult because they have their own meaning, plus they symbolize a situation, how far the situation is versus, the beginning. There's 4 steps. There's like the start of it, then there's sort of like the middle, almost the middle, and then the end, which is symbolized by the page, the knight, the queen, and the king. But whenever these come up for me in readings, they tend to represent people and not really situations. So this is the Page of Wands, and as you can see, besides that, there's no other really, not much of another symbolization, and there is an additional attribute associated with this. Knight of Coins, which I can never remember because the picture doesn't help. Queen of Cups, and the King of Swords. And then finally, I have a collection, a few of major arcana, the ones that I particularly like. My number 1 favorite card is the Lovers. This one is so cute. It reminds me of Romeo and Juliet and has a little Cupid. I actually drew a larger picture of this and had it on my wall once upon a time after I got this tarot because I love that picture so much. Then you have the Devil, the Moon. I like that the moon has water association in the background. The Sun, and I love the sunflowers. Probably, this is one of the more annoying cards that keep coming up for my sister, the Tower. She'll never learn. She will eventually, she just takes a while. And finally, the Magician, which as you can see has a symbol of all of the elements right there. The sword, the cups, the coins, and there's a wand in his hand, so it's about balance. So, that's my tarot deck. Now, when I do tarot readings, I don't really do readings for people that I don't know. That's because if you don't really know me very well, it's not going to really come up in casual conversation that I like tarot and I do tarot readings. And if you are interested in that sort of thing, then I'm more than happy to do a tarot reading. Otherwise, not so much. When I do a tarot reading, it's usually because someone has asked me. I do tarot readings for myself, but I tend to not interpret them objectively. I always want to look at the brightest possibility that I can possibly get. And that's not always the accurate one. So I kind of fail in tarot readings for myself. That, and I really don't like to know too much about what's coming. I like the spontaneity of life, the surprise. Other than that, when I do a tarot reading, it's usually for more long-term things. If no one has asked me and I'm just doing it to do it, it's usually for long-term things. I do tarot readings to see the possible outcomes if I don't do anything different on this path. Sometimes I'll do a tarot reading for 2 converging paths if I have 2 options. What could happen with either one. And what I like about tarot is that nothing is set in stone. Anything that the tarot brings up, you can change. And I try to explain this to my sister because my sister, the oldest of my younger sisters, loves me giving tarot readings. She said that she's had them done a couple of times from by other people, but she said that my tarot reading spreads are kind of like more accurate for her, and that's probably because we grew up together and I know her better, and I know not everything about her personal situation because we really don't talk to each other that often, and we don't live near each other right now, but I know her, so that probably influences the way I interpret the cards as well. But she can be difficult. She doesn't like to change the path she's on. She wants to know what's going to happen, but she doesn't want to change it. So, to me, it's kind of pointless to get a tarot reading if you don't want to change the outcome of a situation that you don't like. But that's her, so can't really say too much. Other than that, which I've been saying a lot this video, I apologize. When I do a reading, here, let me see. When I do a reading, I have my cards on the table, I'll put it in the middle, and before I might shuffle it 3 times before. I usually do, just to make sure the cards are mixed. And then I'll go left to right 3 times. 3's always been my number, and it's my belief that by doing that, you dispel any kind of negative energy that may have accumulated on the cards since my last reading. And I do this after I'm done reading and before I do a reading, so it's always before and after. After I do that, I shuffle. I allow the person to shuffle, and I have them cut into 3 piles, and then put it into a single pile. And from there I take the cards and I'll do a spread. Now the spread that I usually use, this is my favorite spread, and it came from a little booklet that tells you the definitions of the cards, which is not the standard Rider-Waite definitions, and these actually ring more true for me in my spread than any other definition for tarot that I've ever found. So I go by whatever's in this. But the spread that I use is the short and sweet spread, right there. It's more of a generalized spread. It tells you your past, your present, your future, and it gives it like a moral type card, and it'll also tells you just about everything you need to know, including things that you may not even be aware of that are behind the scenes in that situation. So I really like that aspect of my deck in my spreads. Other than that, I do use another spread that I kind of made up for myself, and it's pretty much in, it's got 5 points for spirit, fire, air, water, earth. Although that would be probably twisted around for you because this mirrors everything that I'm doing. And how I deal with that is the spirit is usually the moral card, and the rest of them have 3 cards each, all done in a circular motion, and each element represents an area of my life. For example, earth would be my home life or school. Fire would be more along the lines of my spirituality, beliefs, and will. And water would be emotionally. And air would be psychologically, social aspects, that sort of thing. Intuition. And that's usually how I do my cards. So, kind of congested today. Excuse me. Alright, and whenever I am done, I simply wrap my cards up. Like that. Except I usually have them in my box, and no matter where I go, this little handy pamphlet goes with me because I have trouble memorizing every card. I've had this deck for several years, but my memory is not the best. Partly due because of the epilepsy, and partly due just because of me. But it's true what they say. If you don't use it every day, then you kind of lose it. So every now and then I take out my tarot cards and I go through them and I try to do the associations in my head and see if I'm right by using my pamphlet. And most of the time, I pretty much forget about half of them. So that's my tarot deck. Thank you for watching. And please post a video response for your own tarot decks. Comment. Even if it's a really old comment, I'll still look at it. I'll still comment back or whatever. Alright, so bye.